I'm going to talk about what 4D is. Not that any one person actually has a handle on this, but I'm going to share some things with you that are going to be very obvious because you may be shifting into it, 4 and 5D. I'll talk about the difference. And it may surprise you. You may actually be experiencing the symptoms, I should say, of going into 4 and 5D and thinking the opposite right now. Because I'm going to tell you what it is. And it's really cool. And you're going to embrace some things that maybe you were like not looking forward to. Let's go into 5D. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fear and live an amazing life. It's holding us back. Fear says, that shouldn't be happening. They're wrong. I don't like this. I don't like what I'm getting. I don't like what I'm not getting. And that is like, hello, McFly. We're here on planet Earth. We chose it. Yeah, I know some of you say, no, I didn't. Well, who threw you down here? Somebody punish you? Because this is not a very pleasant place to go amongst the universe of trillions of galaxies. I'm sure there are more pleasant places. No, this is the master class. Guess what we're here to do? Take it from 3D to other dimensions of frequencies individually, which is the illusion that I am an individual person. But through my choices, we get to all come back together. Okay, the whole point is to appear to be separate, to forget everything that we are, right? And boy, we sure did that. And to come back together as one unified field of which we are. The illusion is the separation. But we can't experience all of these different facets and adventures if we were just back into one thing. Of course, we still are one thing, but the illusion of it allows us to have individual journeys. So that's why we all have different roles and bodies and parents and all this other good stuff. But it's still you. It's still one energy experiencing all of it, including the really bad stuff. Yeah. So we're not going to judge it. Now, here's what 4 and 5D is. 4 dimensions means that now we're going beyond time. This is what's happening right now. 4D, people talk about 5D. I'm like, did we skip something here? 3D, you know, this, and depth. All right, what's 4D? There's another dimension of time, which is an illusion, but it allows us in density to function here as dense human beings. Thank goodness, because we have time, I should say, because if we went to a space where we didn't have the existing timeline, we would manifest horrific things. We would have blown ourselves up by now, because every time somebody thought something negative, it just would have happened. That's what happens on the other side. When we're without our bodies and we have no density, thought there, and we're not on the lower frequency, so we're not choosing, weapons and all this other stuff. We're judging and all this. We're not going into that space. That's down here. So you get to come into here, and you get to go back to oneness and unification. What is that? You stop separating yourself from other people. And then when you go into that 4th dimension, time is irrelevant. In fact, you'll miss time, you'll jump forward, you'll find yourselves having more time. It's going to be all over the board. It's already happening. I've experienced it myself. Freaky, freaky stuff. So what is that? We're going into that free form of what we are, that all things are possible, which means there's no time. All right, so what's 5D then? 5D is then we start to actually, let's just say, expand outside of our bodies. Not because we're going someplace new. We're already there, we're just recognizing it, okay? So I've been in awakened states that are so out there that you can't even function on the planet normally because you can't relate to it at all. Everything's hysterical. I mean, I seriously, stuff that you would think is tragic, I would think is funny just for one reason. Not because I think that it's funny that somebody's suffering, but I thought it was funny because We don't have to suffer, and we're choosing it. And it's silly because that person I know is perfect and can go straight into that 5D expansive space where they know they're not the body and they're not the circumstances. And that they can experience the circumstances, but they don't have to struggle with it anymore. So there's no fear. You know, it's not always pleasant, okay? That's going to happen. Now, what is happening right now? We're shifting into the 5D now. Here's the symptoms. You ready for this? This may not be what you think it is. Because we're shifting in a higher dimension, a higher frequency, and because you're choosing it, you have to choose this. You can't be out there, they're this and they're that, and you know, what happened 200 years ago or whatever. We're talking about now. The power of now is, what are we doing now? What are we creating now? All right? Those people 100 years ago, they're dead. We are here right now, and that might have been you 100 years ago, and you're back to do something really amazing. All right, so when you get in a super awakened state and you go to 5D, you actually are functioning out here. You're actually viewing the world outside of your body. It's back here. I don't know why, but it's back here. You're looking at things, you're listening to people, and you can't even relate to your body. You have to actually make an effort to speak. Because you're outside, you're expanding into that field. Well, guess what happens there? All kinds of cool stuff, miracles, all kinds of things. What are the symptoms? Well, think about this. You might experience some challenges. Now, when you go in a higher frequency, the challenges don't bother you as much, but you might be wondering why they're coming around. Because in order to go to the next dimension, you must master the challenge. You can't play I always say Pac-Man because I think it's a funny little game, and it's very simple. You know, the programs change. You know, you're not going to always get the same little Edie thing coming out at the same spot, but you know one's there, and the next time you're going to take another spot, and you learn and you learn and you learn, and that's what's happening here. So it comes back around until you start to master and go up to the higher dimensions. In other words, I don't have to be broke anymore. I don't have to have abusive relationships. I don't have to be angry at somebody that did something God knows how long ago, you know. God does know that there's no such thing as time, that it just exists as long as you hang on to it. So how long do you hang on to all these things that are just simply there for you to master so you'll see it differently? So now all of a sudden, the world is in a bad place. The world's playing out its own roles to evolve. So even the people that are doing the horrific things, they are here to evolve out of that. But they can't do it unless we give the compassion and love to them instead of the condemnation and to struggle and battle with them, right? We've got to react differently. So when we react differently, we go into a world that is compassionate and loving. That's what Christ did. Loved everybody, even those who murdered him. And those on the crosses next to him. All they had to do is say, hey, yeah, please forgive me. Forgiven. We don't have to discuss it. You did stuff. You tried it. It didn't work out really well in this lifetime. Sorry about that. But good news. You now went into a higher frequency, in a higher dimension. You're going to go over there and have a higher understanding. So next time you come back, you're not going to do those things. In fact, you might be the person on the other end of another perpetrator to understand it and maybe handle that differently. So the one isn't thinking good or bad. It's just an energy field saying, okay, what are the dynamics of this? And what is struggle? And what is all this stuff? And how do we solve it? How do we go back into oneness? And that's what planet Earth is, totally to go back into consciousness. And consciousness is knowing that everything's just one thing. To condemn nothing, struggle against nothing. It's all here to play out. And the more you get, and you don't have to go into some bad spaces ever again, but the more you get that's still left over from your density, your dense unconscious self, the quicker you can go through it and go to a high dimension where all of a sudden you're not doing this, and this is what most people do. Oh, I got a new car, I'm happy. Okay, now what? I'm bored and blah, blah. Oh, I have a great relationship. I'm in love. Oh, this is wonderful. This will fix everything. Oh, they broke up with me. You know, it just goes up and down and up and down. And this is what most people do because they're living on ego, materialistic, low density frequencies, not knowing what they are, what power they hold. So when you go in a high frequency, these things don't control you anymore. you experience it. So you do more like this, right? Oh, unpleasant, but you don't keep reacting to it like that's all there is. It's like, okay, I'm human. Wow, I'm getting to experience loss. I'm human. All right, I get to experience what it's like to, struggle with certain things. I'm human. All right, okay, I did something stupid, or I said something stupid. All right, I went into unconsciousness for a minute, right? It's gonna happen to you. It's gonna happen. Dalai Lama gets angry. He admitted that. He just doesn't react to it. He feels it. All right, so we have to be on our game at every moment. It's just when you go into that space, you still have the challenges, but again, you see them differently. You say, "Ooh, opportunity." I've got Lenny, one of my amazing students. I've got so many amazing students in my spiritual teachings doing unbelievable things. She says when something happens, she goes, oh, she gets excited, not because she's excited for the challenge, but she realizes, I can take this to a different level. My way of handling this and everything's going to totally take me to a different space. She gets excited about it. She's amazing. You can do that too. And she wasn't like that. When we first started, she was a very spiritual person. I think she thought of herself as a highly spiritual person. A lot of times we do because we're still unconscious about we don't know what we don't know, right? And then the more you go into this space, you look back and think, I was still pointing fingers, I was still judging, I was still separating because I thought spirituality meant I'm good and they're bad. And then you go to a higher level and you realize there's no good nor bad. And you forgive. When you go to a higher level, you don't have to forgive because nobody ever did anything wrong in the first place. Yeah, that's when you really know you've gotten to a space. It's like, I don't have to forgive somebody. They did something, maybe hurtful or whatever, but they're teachers for me, and they're learning too, and they either evolve out of it or not, but I will always learn from it, because how am I going to react to that? Am I going to be hurt? Am I going to cry? Am I going to strike out? Or am I going to say, you know what? I don't have to feel sorry for that person. They're going through their own teachings and learnings, but how I handle it is totally my own spiritual evolution, which means if I see the light and the love, and I send my light and love to them, I don't have to judge it or analyze or, oh, poor them, and they don't know, and what. And that's still judgment. It's tough because, right? And so you might think you're, spiritual, and you're not doing that, when in fact, we're still doing it. We're still judging and separating. I don't know why that person's doing that. They got their own history, they got their own fears, their own stuff going on. All I know is I don't have to be with it, but I do know that is a facet of me, that we are not disconnected, and however I send my energy field, because energy is everything, I can either make a positive difference on this planet and affect them that way. You think you don't? You do. Greatly. That's going into the higher dimension. And then you go into this space because now all of a sudden everything is being put in front of you, including our global crises, all of them. They're allowing us to go to a next level because now we get a chance to react differently. That's a fifth dimension. So fourth is like you're going to have a lighter attitude. You're going to go into a space that feels better. Time's going to start to shift. You're not going to be on this crazy schedule. I haven't been on a schedule, technically a schedule for a very long time. I don't have to live like that. More people are doing that. You guys have seen this internet training. I'd say it on every video, because if you want to get free videos or find out what people are doing to change your lives, you've got to take the steps. You've got to take the action, right? You got to take action. Year of action. All right, so then these things will come around and you have to train yourself. So let's say we get people come in here, they're all, I'm gonna make some big changes, and then they start to get hung up on the money. And then, this isn't happening fast enough, and they're still thinking old school. It doesn't work, and they start to talk themselves out of things, and then they quit. And that's the same old we've been doing forever. And the people that succeed, they know it's possible, and they keep going and they hit the challenges, learn, evolve. They don't see them as problems. They just see them as something that has a solution to it, and they have to find that solution. They have to find that combination to the safe, because there is one. And so you guys, I have a business channel now. I have 3 YouTube channels now. One is strictly my online training to tell people, you know what? There's a whole mindset shift, and if we go into that, we don't see problems. We say, I haven't learned this yet, or I need to, master this, or I can be a conduit to something amazing. That's the 5th dimension. And you don't even feel like you're in your body half the time. You will experience things. And then you also see alien life forms that come here, the extraterrestrials. You'll realize they're just neighbors waiting for us to get our act together so they can show up and we don't, act like yin-yangs and try and shoot them out of the sky. Fear. We got to step out of the fear. And that's why I teach. Break through fear. Come on over. Free stuff. And I'm going to tell you, is it free stuff? Free stuff. Wrong place. Free stuff. Subscribe and free stuff and free videos for the online business training. Why do I teach you this? Because once you understand fear, you don't struggle with it. You break through it. It's a 5-star course. Come on over, because as of this video, my new courses are coming out, Tap Into Your Power, to teach you how to control this. Because it is under your control. Not in a negative, egotistical way, but guiding it, directing it. And so then you learn, why would you not be able to manifest certain things? Because there's a fear, there's a limitation. So you let it go. You understand it and you say, I didn't master that. So somehow me and it have a relationship that's not supposed to be happening. And I got to let that go. And say, why is it happening? Because it's not being done to me. And that's Tap Into Your Power shows you that you actually are doing it. Right? A lot of times, well, it's happening to me. Why? No, you ordered it. You just haven't recognized that you have to solve that problem because nobody else can. And what you're thinking about the problem is where it all starts. Right? What do I think about that? It's punishment, whatever it is. So I'm going to take you through that. If you go to the free videos down here, free videos down, no, it's over here. I don't know where it is. It's down here. Go get the free videos. I'll give you a discount if you do decide to take one of my bigger courses. You'll get a discount, and then you can master this. And that's what Lenny did. She mastered it. She said she's gone back and taken that course several times. She said she learned something every time, and that's the same thing. You will think you're in an awakened state, and then you'll learn something new that you didn't see, because it takes a while to get out of the fog and the veils and the programming to go into consciousness, the light. This is really amazing stuff. So, are you in 5D? Going into 5D? Yeah, you can't go into it until you clear this stuff up, because that stuff doesn't exist in 5D. The challenges do, but they don't affect you anymore the same way. You just function as a human being now, finding another combination to another safe, and you open it up, yay, next. Pac-Man, let's get to the top, bing! All right, please subscribe, share these. There's nothing to ever fear. This is not easy stuff. We signed up for it. Come on. Let's get our act together, spiritual bug kick. Get your act together. Yeah? Yeah? And you know what happens if you're saying naughty stuff. Yeah? Shut your pie hole. Is there somebody else out there that's offended by that? Well, then you're interpreting it in a negative way, because you know that I mean everything and a lot of fun, and don't lose your sense of humor. I've seen a lot of people out there, they just lost their sense of humor. Life is pretty funny when you know what we really are. You're whole and perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.